Hi y'all, it's me, Anna E, and I'm going to give you my best tips for your job search. I am a recruiter in real life. I'm what is called an internal recruiter, which means I only work for my company, just one company. Most recruiters, I would say the vast majority of recruiters, are external recruiters. They work for a recruiting firm. And what happens is a company with a job goes to that recruiter, that recruiting firm, and says, hey, we have this opening, help us find somebody. That recruiter will then turn around and post the job and sift through the candidates, maybe do some testing, and then send the companies their best qualified candidates, the best qualified applications. They then make a commission, and a commission only, based off of that person's hired salary, right? And that commission is usually between 17 and 25%, meaning that if you're hired and your salary is going to be $100,000, the company then pays an additional $25,000 to the recruiter for their fee. And that's how that works. They don't get paid unless they find a candidate that's hired. For me, my job is only to work for my company, so I am paid a salary and not commission. First and foremost, when you apply for a job, make sure you actually upload a resume and don't let your LinkedIn profile be that resume. The problem with that is it makes it really easier for you, the job seeker, but it makes it really hard for us on the receiving end. It gives us a really dirty looking document that's not complete, and it doesn't give a full picture of your qualifications. It undersells you. And your resume is going to be like your billboard. It's your advertisement, and you need it to be pleasing to the eye, and you need it to be as complete as possible while being easy to read. That's what your resume should be. It doesn't need to be 14 pages long. It doesn't even need to be a single page long. If your information won't fit on a page, that's fine. Do 2, do 3, but make sure that you're not putting superfluous information in there. Make sure you're not adding anything extra that's not important, that doesn't matter. Give me the highlights of what you did the most. Give me maybe a couple, big accomplishments that you did on that job, and then move on to the next one. Always include dates. If you're not including dates on your resume, on your jobs, you're hiding something. And it doesn't matter if you have a gap of employment. What matters is that you're upfront and honest with that. I don't particularly care if you've been out of work 2, 3, 4 years. I just want to know what you did the last time and what have you been doing with your time since. Sure, you've been out of work, but you've been doing something. Have you been volunteering? Have you been raising your kids? Have you been going to school? What have you been doing? Show me. So when I'm reading your resume, I'm looking for 3 things. I am looking for your key skills, your key experience, and your key education. If you have those 3 things, I'm going to go and look at your application. If your application is complete, meaning you answered every single question, meaning you didn't put meaning you can write a complete sentence. If you can put subject and predicate together with the proper punctuation and capitalization, I'll probably contact you. When I ask you what motivates you, don't put dollars with a Z. Don't. You're not on social media, you're not being cute on Facebook, you're not making a quippy status. This is a job application, use a complete sentence. It's fine if money motivates you. That's totally cool. Money motivates a lot of people, especially in the job market. That's cool, but you need to spell it out for me. Write a full sentence. My financial well-being motivates me. My financial stability, my blah, blah, blah. Do that. Don't put dollars, and don't put dollar signs. Those 2 things have actually happened to me more than once. So after I have reviewed your resume for those 3 key things, I have checked your application to make sure you can write a complete sentence. I will then move you to the contact pile. So once I move you into that contact pile, I am going to reach out to you to schedule a phone interview. I will always email you to do this. When I send you an email, or when a recruiter sends you an email, do not call back. Respond to that email. Do not make a new email with your own subject line and then give me whatever information I need. Don't do that. When I send you an email, I'm sending hundreds of emails a week. I have structured these emails with the subject line and all of that to be able to keep up with who you are and what you're applying to. So don't start a new email thread with your own subject to job, because I don't know. I don't have any idea, because that means I've got to go into my files and search out your email address and figure out who you are and what you've applied to, find the original email that I sent you and reply to that. Oh my God, so much work. Likewise, if I call you to schedule a phone interview, call me back. Don't email me. It's much easier if you just respond in kind. Call for call, email for email. The recruiter is showing you what is the best way to contact them. And at this point, it's about pleasing that recruiter, because she's your first line of defense. You've got to get past her to be able to get to the hiring manager. Likewise with responding in kind, if the email sent to you has a "Dear Sarah, what's your availability? Thanks so much. email signature, right? Don't respond to that with Tuesday at 2, and that's it. Respond with, hey recruiter, thanks so much for contacting me. My availability this week are these times, and list multiple times, at least 2. If they're asking for your availability, give me at least 2 options, because I'm trying to plug you into a calendar that is already so packed, I can't even fit sardines up in there. You have got to give that recruiter some options. You've got to show some flexibility and some real interest. Don't be stubborn. Don't be stubborn with your time. You're looking for a job. You want to be as flexible and as accommodating as possible. So when we have that phone interview scheduled, actually answer the phone. Actually answer the phone. About 20% of all the calls that I set up don't actually answer the phone at our agreed time. I cannot tell you how maddening that is, because I could have scheduled somebody who would have answered the phone. That is really, really frustrating. I mean, I understand when things come up, like if you've got emergency meeting at work and you couldn't get a break when you thought you could, that's fine. That is fine. That's why when my message, I usually say, totally understand, we can reschedule, just shoot me an email and let me know when a better time is to call you, right? When I send you that email, or when I send you that voicemail with instructions to email me a better time to call you, don't call me back with better times to call you. Email me back. Again, because I have probably moved on to the next person on the calendar, I have already called my next call, which means I'm on a call, which means when you're calling in, the call waiting beep is muting my voice to the next person, to that candidate, which means they're having a hard time understanding me, which lessens their ability to perform well for that phone interview. Always follow directions. Never ever call when they say email. Never ever email when they say call. Follow those directions, because if you can't follow the directions during the job seeking process, you're not going to follow directions for the clients. When we're actually on the call, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. Most of my questions can be found online for those, the most common interview questions. I do that way on purpose because it gives you an opportunity to prepare and show me how well you can perform with preparation. So, research the company, make sure you know who we are and what we do. I don't need you to know the CEO. I don't need you to know the principal players. I don't need you to know all of the ins and outs of our industry. It's a complicated industry. I get it. What I do need you to know is our company name and what we do. Don't ask me, now who are you? Now what do you do again? Don't ask me that. Don't ask me what the job is, because you should know you applied. If you can't put forth that little bit of effort to look at my email and say, oh, this is the company, here is the job, let me go back and see when I applied, let me go back and read that job description, I give you ample information to be able to do that. So even if you aren't keeping track with the jobs that you've applied to, which you should, you have plenty of information for me to go find it again. And I expect you to do that. I expect you to go find it again. I expect you to read who we are and what we do and what the job is. Those are questions you do not need to ask me. Also, when I call you, don't jump into your own questions. I'm interviewing you, not the other way around. At the end of the interview, I will ask you if you have any questions, and that is the appropriate time to ask me whatever you've got. I would suggest you think about your questions. Don't just ask me the hours. You should know that from a quick interview search. You should know our hours. Don't ask me about benefits. That's in the job description. It's also in the job description whether or not it's full or part-time. If that's not in the job description, feel free to ask. If benefits aren't in the job description, or if you couldn't find the hours of a particular company that you're working for, it's okay to ask that. But if this is information that is easily found with a quick search of just the company name, we got a problem. It shows that you didn't care enough, that you aren't interested enough. Be interested, be engaged. At the end of our conversation, I'm going to give you some next steps. What's going to happen next in the process? I'm going to tell you a time frame and what you can do if you haven't heard within that time frame. Those are directions. I'm testing you to see if you can follow directions. If you can't follow directions, you're not going to follow directions on the job. And that's important, especially with a lot of the clerical admin type positions. You have to be able to follow directions. You have to be able to take information, apply it critically, and follow through with it. After that, if you're selected for an on-site interview, don't email me and ask me what the dress code of the office is. The dress code for you as an interviewee is a suit, or as close to a suit as you can possibly get with your wardrobe. Is a suit. It doesn't matter if that company wears pajamas to the office every day. You're an interviewee, you wear a suit. With the phone interview, much like the on-site interview, be the best professional version of yourself as you can. Don't assume a different persona. Don't pretend to be somebody you're not. Be who you are. If you take nothing else away from this video, take this. You spend the majority of your waking hours with your office, in your company, with the group of coworkers that are there. You want to be sure that you're a good fit for that group. Personality-wise, all of that. You want to make sure that you fit. It's important to you as well as to the company. Don't pretend to be somebody you're not. Don't pretend to be a reflection of the people you saw, in the outer office. Be you, the professional version of you, but you. That's how you ensure it's a career move and not just a job hop. That's how you make sure that this is a place that you can be long-term, where you can grow and advance and achieve and all of that. You want to make sure that you fit in that office. Other miscellaneous tips include, do not argue with the person who is interviewing with you. Doesn't matter, don't do it. You can correct them if they have wrong information, absolutely, but don't argue. Number 2, do not mention politics in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't matter if the person interviewing you has a big old Democrat picture in the back of their office. Don't talk politics. You may think you know, but you don't know. Don't do it. Do not wear loads of perfume to your on-site interview. You never know who has allergies. Just don't do it. Do not give one-word answers or two-word answers. Give a complete and full, appropriate to the situation answer. Do not come on to the person who is interviewing you. I can't believe I'm having to say this, but don't do it. Don't flirt. Don't flirt. Don't be inappropriate. Don't call me 45 times in a day because you missed your call the first time. That above almost everything else is the most obnoxious, annoying thing in life. I gave you clear instructions on what to do, and if you can't follow my instructions as a recruiter when you're trying to put your best foot forward for a job post, you're not going to follow instructions on the job. That's what I think. That's what everybody thinks. Oh, that's another important thing. If you applied for a job, if you're job seeking, check your email daily. Daily. I have gotten emails months after the fact, months after I have sent them that initial contact responding with their availability. Well, the job's already gone. It's already been taken. If you're applying for jobs, check your voicemail, check your email on a daily basis, and check that spam folder, because a lot of the times a company email is going to end up in your spam folder because you've never gotten an email from that company before, that domain address. So check it, stay on top of it, please, I'm begging you. And those were my tips for the job seeker. This is also my vlogging channel. Please like and subscribe for more. I upload every Sunday, sometimes Monday, depending on how busy I am, and that's about it. See ya. All right, let's see if I can make a video out of that. That made 0 sense. Okay, so my tips for you, the job seeker, So my tips for you, the job seeker, okay, so when we're finally on the phone and our phone call, I will generally introduce myself. I always introduce myself. Step number 4 is your on-site interview. I think it was actually this finger. This finger would be your on-site interview. I've completely lost my train of thought. I have no idea what I have said and what I haven't said. He makes me very nervous. I'm worried he's gonna claw the arm again. I'm watching you. Oh, I am. You can get up here? Come on, there's a good boy. Guess who's had the mic off this whole time?